What's up everyone, Senyo here, Schultz Outfitters, and I'm going to share a new pattern with you guys that I've been kind of tinkering with since it's steelhead season. It's fall, it's getting cold outside. I'm kind of looking forward to making a couple runs either north or back down to the alley to enjoy a few fish for myself. Kind of want to highlight some of the new materials that we have out with Montana fly, everything from the Dirty Bird dub, the bulb chain, the satin chenilles, the scales and tails. So wanted to give you, kind of an easy pattern, something to give you a lot of movement, easy to cast, single station, kind of gives you that bulk, moves around nice. So kind of stays in my realm of how I like to tie things. So we're going to spin up the belly button lint, and here we go. So first I'm just going to take a 35 millimeter shank of choice, and it can be anything you want. It can be a 40, it can be a 25, it really doesn't matter. It's going to be a single station type of fly. Now the big deal is making sure you put a good thread base down. I just take my time anymore. Then I just put a good, make sure that shank is covered. I don't want my wire to slip. Trim that off. So I'm going to take some Rio bite wire. Just gonna cut a section off. And then if you have a Regal, it has that little knob, a little post in there. I just measure it out. Lock that wire onto the shank. I'm going to take it up to where those front two wires come together, and I'm just going to trim that a little bit. Wrap it in good. This is your choice. I'm just doing this kind of to show you the extra steps. If you want that extra little peace of mind, you put that thread on tight. You really don't need to use glue. I'm always a peace of mind. I don't like a thought of anything falling apart, so I just touch this with a little bit of super glue. All right, there we go. So I'm going to take that satin chenille. This is the 10 millimeter. And I'm going to just get that little light core, and I'm going to tie that into the rear. And this is kind of going to be my belly, little hot spot. Just going to make a couple wraps. So once I've got that in, it kind of gives you that hot spot and that little, this stuff takes marker really, really well. So like I'm trying to give everything a little bit of contrast and two-tone, clown this out a little bit. So I want that to have just a touch of pink on the bottom. So the underneath of the fly, just to kind of give that a two-tone aspect. Okay, see that? There we go. Next I'm gonna grab 30 millimeter in the white. So this stuff builds a great collar. Like I said, it's there's no flash or anything added to this, so it's all about the color, and it's got that real bone look to it, and it makes a really great wing for part of your prop. So I'm just going to make a couple wraps of this. Just use your hand, prune those fibers back. Now, you don't need much of this stuff. I just seat it where I want it, lock it in. Alright, now that we've got that, you notice it's kind of got like that eggy veil kind of look. You'll see it all come together when I'm done. So I'm going to take some of that scales and tails, and this is kind of be the prop for the Flashaboo. Now you don't want to put a lot of this stuff in. I just want enough to just give me a little bit of stiffness. So I don't know if you can see that. It's a very sparse amount. Okay. I'm going to take that and fold it over because I want those uneven tips there. I'm just going to give that a light trim. And then lock that in right over the top. And you'll notice I have a big loop of material left over, right? So I keep this because that's going to be the next fly, okay? So I just grab that loop, trim this, set it off to the side. Any loose fibers, just get rid of them. Lock that in. And I just make sure that's spread out. And if there's any fibers, and like I said, I'm just getting rid of them. All right, so now we're gonna put a little bit of flash in, and this kind of matches the flash that's in the dirty bird dubbing. So I'm gonna lay that over the wing. Couple wraps in there to lock that in. Just uneven, kind of trim that. I don't care if it's got some little wispy things going on. I'm a big fan of this white Flashabou. I love it. It moves great. Gives a really nice visible look to the fly. And if you're tying like minnow patterns like what this is, it shows up well in both good green water and stained water. So we're going to do the next base. I'm just taking this as, I think it's called Bullfrog Flashabou. Got some olive in it, some gold in it. It's got some blue. So there's my wing. I'm just going to add, there's everything for the wing. Now we're just going to add a couple standard Chinese saddle hackle, or you can use barred, you can use whatever you want. And this is just to kind of hold everything together, and up on top I wanted to keep that wispy little profile. And the nice thing is too, these feathers catch water. They like to flutter, kind of move your fly around. And all the materials that we're using today, a lot of them have that movement without motion. You know, marabou is just constantly breathing and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to give you an easy way to enjoy all that. And as you can see, we're kind of whipping through this fly. It's not super difficult to tie, and that's kind of the whole point. So there's our whole wing. So now we're just gonna throw in our fill. We're gonna grab a white schlappen feather. Just gonna prune that back, and I don't need the whole feather, but I'm gonna tie this by the tip. Maybe in like an inch or so. Try to get that little longer fiber. I'm just gonna get that feather started the way I want it. Get those fibers going backward. Just lock that in. Now it's kind of user choice on this next step. Okay, I'm going to come back just a little bit. I want that little cone there that's creating. If you're getting any loose fibers, just take your scissors, rack them in there. You can see that hot spot really show up on the bottom, right? There's your wing. Just wet it, keep it all back. All right, so any type of mottled feather here, I'm just using like mallard wood duck, but you can use guinea. You can use any one of the striped out feathers. Let's tie this in. Let's get rid of that. Now All I did was tied it in, same way I tied the schlop in. And just need a couple of turns. Don't need to go crazy here. So you'll notice I got plenty of room, right? So we're down really to our last two steps of this fly. So I'm just putting a good base down just to keep it all uniform. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. You know, if I have any feathers stuck, I'm kind of just pulling them out. So I really like this stuff. So you guys have seen my AIs and everything else. This is called bulb chain. It's new from Montana Fly, and this has a really cool like egg shape to it. Okay, so I like cutting these off as my 4. Okay, coming in underneath. What I'm going to do is just lock that in. Do several little figure 8s. You know, all these shanks are slightly either bent one way or bent another. You know, I'm sure somebody makes them at home, gets them perfect, but I don't live in that kind of world. So, you know, you just got to move them, make sure they line up with the eye. Take a little bit of your super glue. I just hit it, flip it back, hit the top of that, and you'll see why I'm doing that too. It's kind of going to help with the last step here. So we're going to build that head, right? So I'm going to use my new Dirty Bird dubbing. And this is exactly, you know, what I'm seeing it called out there. It is literally the mess made, you know, picked up off your desk. It's just great for everything. You nymphs, streamers, sculpin, anything you want. Like, this stuff works perfect for it. I'm just taking a clump. I've kind of widened it a little bit or V'd it, and I'm just literally going to push it on, grab it with the other hand. You'll see how easy this is to make that bushy head. I'm going to make several little wraps. I'm going to pull out anything I don't like, which in this stuff it's not much. So just fold it back, literally like so. Literally come to the front. That's it. So maybe give it a little half hitch, right? I know I kind of weird everybody out when I just put super glue on it. So there you go. There's your knot. There's your tip of the day. But see this stuff right here, you don't need a knot. So I'm just gonna literally touch, cut this. Now we're not done yet. We got a little bit of pruning to do, but like the whole point is to not tear this fly up. Okay, like just give it a good, take your brush. All I do is just make sure all those fibers are loose. And this comes in like 20 something different colors, so you could really do some cool stuff with this stuff as your base. Okay, with the Dirty Bird dub as your head, you can really make some cool stuff. And you can see those eyes just pop, you know, so it gives you that little extra hint. So once you got it all brushed, like that's it. That's the whole fly. You got even flow. This thing's gonna breathe all the time. It's a really simple tie. Not trying to overcomplicate it. It's literally one station. It's one wing. Just some little added dynamics to give you that little color pop without having too much. So there's my like little minnow or emerald shiner, sculpin, whatever. It can be anything you want it to be. Okay, you know, and just like kind of giving you some examples. Like here's a black and purple with some copper. You know, you guys like the bright stuff, right? We can literally go to the orange and white, some copper. You know, great dirty water flies, right? You know, all chartreuse and white. You know, just giving you ideas, guys. You know, here's your clown, you know, on a black leech. So a little bit of everything. So also, if you want, just to finish this off, you just flip it up, right? Just flip it up. Now you got that wire crimped already. I'm just going to come into it. All right, I'm going to take my hook. It's just hook of choice. Since you got that crimp, you just literally put it on, open that loop. Come on, fat fingers. Push that on, so see, it opens that loop. Grab the hook. There she is. Hook attached. So, there she is. Everything you need right there. So cool, easy, new fly, utilizing the new bulb chain eyes, the dirty bird, the satin chenille, and the scales and tails. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck out there, and catch you next time.